everyone, welcome or indeed welcome back to the channel. If you are new, don't forget to hit subscribe because today I am testing such an exciting foundation. Yes, we have a naked face situation, which usually means I'm testing a foundation. And today I'm testing a foundation which I feel a lot of people are very excited about. And the foundation I'm testing is this one from the Ordinary. This is a brand new foundation which has only just been released. I managed to get my hands on the serum and hopefully the coverage version, but for the moment they're only shipping out the serum version. Hopefully the coverage version I'll get at some point soon. For the moment I wanted to test out this serum foundation because I am so excited. If you've not heard of The Ordinary already, they were kind of put on the map, I feel, by the British makeup artist Wayne Goss. Every time he posts about anything from The Ordinary, they usually sell out of all the products because not only is the packaging really simplistic and it's really good quality stuff, but it's unbelievably affordable. I think in their skincare stuff, the cheapest item they do is £3.90 and the most expensive is maybe around £12 or something. So really, really affordable, and it's unbelievably good quality stuff. So when The Ordinary announced that they were coming out with foundations, the world kind of went into some kind of meltdown. Before we get into my thoughts on application, etc., let's just quickly hop onto the internet and we'll read a little bit more about this foundation and what I can expect from it. So I thought I may as well show you the Victoria Health website because this is where I, along with a lot of other people, ordered this foundation from back on the 28th of March, which is when they first allowed ordering of it. It feels like it was a very long time ago now. This is the colour that I actually got, so it's 1.2p light. It's only £5.70, which I think is an absolute bargain, and you get a standard 30ml for that £5.70. You can see that you can actually add it to your basket at the moment, but it does say it's currently on pre-order only, so they are trying to work through the backlog of orders that they had already, as well as any new ones that will start pouring in now as well. In terms of what they say about this serum foundation, it comes with an SPF of 15 and it's described as being lightweight, medium coverage, which is available in a comprehensive shade range across 21 shades, and I will show you the shade chart in just a second. These foundations offer moderate coverage that looks natural with a very lightweight serum feel. They are very low in viscosity and are dispensed with a supplied pump or with an optional glass dropper available for purchase separately if preferred. The unique suspension system used in the formulation allows shades to look so natural on the skin that 3 shades or more will suit most skin tones. That, I think, is pretty unusual and very exciting. So as long as you select a shade that looks fairly close to what you need, you should be able to get away with it, is what they're saying. The shades can also be mixed at the time of application if desired. As with most liquid forms of foundation, it's ideal to shake the container lightly before use. So in terms of directions, shake before use, dispense a small amount onto the palm or back of your hand, smooth on and blend throughout the face, ideally outward from the midpoint of the face. And as you'll probably notice here in red writing, there is a different formulation for the US, Canada and Australia. The version that goes out to those countries cannot contain SPF. I'm not quite sure why that is, but if you want to order from those countries, then you need to make sure you click on the right link. So this is the colour foundation guide, and as they said, it is available in 21 different colours ranging from very fair all the way through to very deep. It is a fairly comprehensive shade range, so to help me explain this shade range to you, I'm going to read through a portion of an email that Victoria Health sent back on the 28th of March. This describes how the colours break down really clearly, probably much better than anything I could ever do. So the shades are divided into categories: 1 for fair to lighter tones, 2 for medium and 3 for darker tones. Each category is then classified further by a second digit from 0 to 3 to indicate depth within each category. Finally, a letter is added to the shade code to identify the undertone. So you have P for pink, and R for red, which indicate cool undertones for lighter and darker shades respectively. N indicates a neutral tone, and Y indicates a yellow undertone. Each shade code has a descriptive name as well. So for example, the shade that I got, which is 1.2p, is light with pink undertones, whilst 3.0Y is medium dark with yellow undertones. 3 of the shades have an additional letter at the end. S indicates silver highlights and G indicates gold highlights. These shades use natural looking and exceptionally fine dispersions of metallic effect pigments for added highlight. The Ordinary will introduce individual enhancers and highlighters in the near future so that you can customise all shades. So really comprehensive shade range. There aren't really many swatches out there at the moment. I had to rely on using this chart to choose my shades originally, as did probably everybody who was originally placing those pre-orders, but hopefully as time will go on now, there'll be a lot more swatches available out there. So I picked up the shade 1.2p. I had a look at the chart and I felt pretty comfortable in choosing that shade. I have done some swatches of what this looks like up against some other foundations that I've got, so I will pop that in just so that you can have a look. In terms of the actual foundation itself, it comes in this lovely sort of frosted plastic bottle with a pump applicator. Originally they were going to provide a dropper applicator, but they changed their mind and it now comes with a pump. It's very liquidy. So it's definitely recommended to shake this up before you use it because it is a very liquidy foundation, probably amongst any of the most liquidy foundations that I've ever used. If you are new to my foundation test videos, I tend to keep things really straightforward. I'll put in lots of pictures and stuff as I'm talking just so that you can see how my skin was looking before and after. In terms of my skin type, it is generally oily, but it is a little bit more combination now. I do suffer from dryness around my chin area, which I'm sort of getting on top of now. My skin is freshly washed and moisturised. I thought we may as well go for a whole Ordinary thing today, so I've actually used the Ordinary moisturiser on my face today. But I don't use a primer or a setting powder in these test videos because I want to give as fair a test as possible and actually just see how the foundation performs on its own before I then do some further experimentation. So this is why I do foundation update videos as well. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to apply this because normally in foundation test videos I'll do one half of my face with a sponge and the other half with a brush. They didn't specify how to apply it either, they just said to blend it. So I think I'm going to have to see how it feels as it's going on. This is how liquidy it is. 1.2p I think is looking like it's going to be a really good colour match for me, but what I really like is the fact that they're saying most people can probably get away with around 3 or more shades, which I think is very exciting because it's supposed to look very natural. It's probably looking a little pale on camera. It's a bit more beigey pinky in real life. Should we go for it and get some on my face? I think I'm going to go with the brush first of all, and I'm just going to pick some up. Wow, it's unbelievably easy to blend. This is going to be a really nice one if you don't need a lot of coverage, because I'm not sure what level of coverage this offers, but if you don't need a lot of coverage, this could potentially be a really quick and easy one to apply in the morning. It doesn't really feel like I'm applying anything, it's so lightweight. It doesn't seem to be sitting in any of my texture issues either, which is always nice. That is what this foundation promised as well, because I think it is more targeted for people with texture issues or mature skin as well. That just seems to have completely melted and disappeared into my skin. I can't believe how easy that was to apply. Okay, so I think that's pretty much that half of my face done. It is looking a little pale on camera. In real life, it's definitely a bit darker, but I'll take some flash and non-flash pictures in a minute so you can see. But that has certainly gone on absolutely beautifully and effortlessly. Why aren't all foundations like this? Let's pump out a bit more and do the other side, and we'll go with a dampened sponge this time just to see if it makes any difference. It's obviously not as quick as the brush. Generally speaking, if it's a pretty forgiving foundation, brushes are the quicker way to apply. With a sponge, you're kind of having to work that bit harder anyway. I would say in terms of coverage, this is probably somewhere around light to medium. Again, it doesn't seem to be really settling into any of my texture issues either, so that's good. I don't think There's a massive difference in terms of the coverage that I've had from the brush or the sponge. It's maybe slightly better coverage on the sponge side. I'm just going to see if I can build it up in a couple of areas, maybe just using my fingers to sort of spot conceal, because I do have a couple of things that need to be covered, which is always handy for foundation test videos because we can see how well it lasts. It feels like I've put absolutely nothing on my skin at all. It's incredibly lightweight and comfortable. It has managed to build up on itself a little bit. Quite a lot of the blemish is still showing through, so I'd probably want to use a concealer on top of this. I would definitely say that the sponge side is looking more smooth and the coverage is definitely higher on the sponge side compared to the brush. So I'm just going to build it up on this side a little bit more. I might just try patting it in instead. Don't know whether you can see, but on my eyelids it's started to gather, and it's also started to gather under my eyes too, but hopefully that'll just be a case of blending it away and it won't come back again, because quite often I get this regardless of what I'm applying. I think the last area I kind of want to touch up a little bit more is my chin area, because I do tend to need a bit more coverage there, and I think because of the better coverage that I was getting, I'm going to use the sponge for this. Because of how liquidy it is, I was a bit worried about how the tools that I'm using might eat the product up a little bit. I think I will experiment at some point about how this applies with fingers instead. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with the level of coverage that I've got now. It feels unbelievably comfortable. It doesn't feel like I've got anything on my skin at all. It's very lightweight. The finish is really soft and smooth, ever so slightly tacky, but it is drying down fairly quickly. So far, I am pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting this level of coverage from the Serum Foundation, so it makes me very excited for the coverage foundation to arrive. What I'm going to do is I will quickly pop on the rest of my makeup and I will be back in a second so we can see how it's sitting and how it's feeling. Okay, I am seriously impressed with this foundation. Not only is it unbelievably affordable, and we're talking affordable to the point that even in the drugstore you can't really find foundation as affordable as this. It feels unbelievably comfortable, everything else blended beautifully on top of it. It's dried down to a kind of matte finish, but not uncomfortably matte. It's just kind of like a skin feel finish. Like if I had really nicely natural normal skin, I would imagine that it would feel like this. It just feels like nice healthy skin. I think the level of coverage, considering this was a serum foundation, so my expectations were that bit lower, I think is actually really beautiful. It was so easy to blend and apply, and I was able to build the coverage up quite well too. I think I've done pretty well with the shade match as well. Provided this wears for a fairly decent amount of time, I'm going to be so impressed with this foundation. So the next time you see me will be at the end of the day when I'm about to take it off, and I'll let you know my final thoughts on how it's been wearing throughout the rest of the day. But so far I am seriously impressed. Hi everyone, so it is the end of the day. I have been wearing this foundation for about 7 hours, which is pretty average for me, really. I will be taking it off in a little while, but I don't think things are going to change that much from where I am right now. I've not really had a chance to look in the mirror at all today, but in terms of how the foundation has felt, it's felt really comfortable. It's continued to feel really pleasant and like I've got nothing on my skin at all. Let me just take my glasses off and we'll have a little look at what's actually going on my face. Just after I applied this foundation, I went outside and someone actually said to me, "Your skin looks flawless." So that was a really good start. I was very pleased to hear that. It is quite tricky sometimes applying not only a new foundation that you're not really familiar with, but also using a really small mirror instead of the usual big mirror that I use. So I was really pleased to hear that. Straight away, you'll probably notice that I am quite shiny on my forehead. There's nothing unusual about that. I am quite an oily person. So I think if you had oily skin like me, you'd probably benefit from using either an oil controlling primer, moisturiser, or maybe a setting powder, or a combination of all of those things depending on how oily you actually are. Something I'm really happy about is it hasn't actually accentuated my dry area at all. Usually foundation settles in there, it starts to look pretty cakey and nasty, and I really struggle to find something that works for both my oily areas and my drier areas as well, but this is actually looking pretty quite decent. I'm really surprised. The areas of my face where I do have kind of more normal skin, which is the outer perimeter of my face and part of my cheeks, although I tend to get a little bit oilier here and on my nose, is looking pretty good. The coverage is still really nice. I don't think it's actually worn off very much at all. You can still see that the coverage over my blemishes is still hanging on in there really well. The only extra concealer that I used earlier was just a dab of under eye concealer, because I don't think anything other than industrial strength concealer can help my dark circles right now. I'm really impressed with the coverage on the blemishes that I do have and how it's actually stayed. Okay, it didn't completely get rid of the spot, they were still a little bit visible, but at the end of the day it was really natural looking coverage, which is something they promised that it would be. And I do think it's given me really nice natural coverage all day that has just kind of looked like my skin. It's evened everything out. Okay, I am quite shiny now, but I think this is where I'll need to experiment with using other products underneath and on top of it, and I think I can solve this issue pretty easily. I think we just need to take a minute to appreciate how affordable this foundation is. It comes in an amazing shade range, which I know is a little bit baffling, but if you take some time and do a bit of research, I'm sure you'll be able to find a shade that really will work for you. And like they've said, you can probably go a little bit adrift and it shouldn't matter too much anyway, because it does blend beautifully. I was blown away with how easy this foundation was to blend. I think if you didn't have a huge amount going on to cover and you had pretty much any kind of skin and you just wanted to lightly buff something in very quickly, this would make an excellent option. Likewise, if you needed a little bit extra cover and perhaps rather than use a brush to buff it in, you want to use a sponge so you build up a little bit more coverage, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how much coverage you can actually get out of this light to medium coverage foundation. Overall, I am super impressed with this foundation. Not only is the packaging really nice, it's affordable, it works, it feels nice, it's easy to use, it comes in a great shade range. What more can I say really, other than go out and buy it? If you can, get your hands on this. I think it's beautiful. I think it's going to suit pretty much anyone. I am absolutely blown away. This is probably the most exciting foundation I've ever put on my face, ever. It's properly got me excited for so many different reasons. So get it, get your hands on it. If you can get it, get on the wait list, get it ordered, figure out what shade you need. Hell, buy 2 shades if you're not sure, because with this stuff, like I said earlier, even the drugstore cannot go this cheap. And this is good quality, lovely feeling foundation. I cannot say enough good things about it. I am so impressed. I really hope that this review has been helpful to you. I've tried to put as much information in as possible for you to be able to get the information out of it that you need. I know how much I rely on other people for their pictures and their reviews and stuff like that, so this is my offering for this foundation and it gets an enormous thumbs up from me. So that is it for today's video. I feel like I'm in an amazingly happy mood now and I cannot wait for the coverage version of this foundation to come along, because boy, oh boy, is this an exciting launch. I am over the moon. If you found this video enjoyable and helpful, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up down below, because it does really help support my channel. And if you are new here and would like to see more content like this from me in the future and would like to subscribe, I will pop a button just here so you can click it and just get notified of content as and when it gets uploaded. And if you've not seen my last video, I will pop a link to that one just up here so you can click it and check that one out too. Anyway, I hope you're all really well and I will see you again soon. Bye!